Hello everyone, today we're going to be jumping into a gold conquest. Now that I'm infinite for the season, we're going to be grinding a lot of tickets, a lot of gold tickets, a lot of infinite tickets, so that once that opens up, we will be able to slam as many of those as we possibly can. And so today we're going to be using a Kitty Pride Dino deck. I call it Dino Cat. The main idea behind this list is that you want to use your collector, your Zabu, the randomly generated cards to get that surprise element on your opponent so that whenever you get just the right resource that you need, you can utilize those for big 4 and 8 cube games in the process. We have Mystique to either copy the Zabu or the Dino, or sometimes something that is generated by Coulson or Nick Fury. We have the Kitty Pride that with the Chavez consistency driver is going to be a decent early game resource, plus it helps us buff up our collector as well. Now, this one's not going to be as consistent at stopping the opponent from doing their big bursty thing. So there are some versions that run Killmonger, some versions that run Invisible Woman, a Cosmo, to really restrict the opponent from what they want to and can do. This one is going to be leaning more into our own play style, while still having a couple of counter components like your Shang-Chi to be able to help you swing those games in your favor. And so we're going to jump straight into the Gold Conquest. Thank you guys as always for being here. Let's see if we were able to take this one all the way. All right, so our first opponent is going to be KeVlaR. They are running last season's Conquest variant, and so we'll see if we're able to figure out what kind of deck they're running. So we have the Zabu. That's going to be good, especially once Atilin shuffles our cards back in. We won't necessarily want to generate random cards before that point, so before the end of turn 3, because we don't want those to disrupt our potential drawback. Now they're running a Thanos list. Thanos is picking up, I've noticed an uptick in Thanos lists, just from the kind of consistency driver. You can build it a lot of different ways. It's really hard to know exactly what your opponent is planning to do on any particular turn. And you can kind of feign what kind of Thanos deck you're running up until you start revealing some of those actual resources. And so with Atilin, we don't know if they're going to use Reality Stone to change this one, so I'm not going to lean into Camartage yet. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we get Collector on the board, and then after that, we're going to be able to lean into Agent Coulson, Nick Fury, Maria Hill to generate a lot of additional resources. And then Reality Stone in the left lane actually changes that location into the Onslaught Citadel, so we're going to be able to have some really cheap resources. We're going to have a really big Devil Dino, and we're going to be able to get a lot of value here. I'm going to go ahead and do both White Queen and Maria Hill into Camartage. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would make it where we couldn't draw next turn though. So maybe we just do Maria Hill into Monster Metropolis. That's what we're going to lean in on. White Queen's going to give us some information about what kind of Thanos deck the opponent's running, unless we grab their Thanos. We get a double death drop. That is huge. So if they have a Killmonger here to wipe out these 1-cost cards, we get so much value. So the Yondu is going to hit our Quinjet. It is going to hit our Mystique. So whenever we draw into a card, we now have a 50-50 of Shang-Chi or Kitty Pride. Unfortunately, we lose that 50-50, so we're not going to have the Shang-Chi to lean in on. But we will be able to get our 1-costs out of our hand. Agent Coulson is going to make sure our hand is full. If they play something like Killmonger now, we have 2 of their deaths, and so those would be free. We could double drop those plus the Devil Dino, making it really tough to stop us. And we get the Iron Lad from Agent Coulson, which could be that determining factor of being able to get the Shang-Chi to counter whatever big play they have. So this is one of the first Kangs that I have ran into in Conquest mode. So I'm thinking they're probably running a Galactus list. I would have to imagine that they're running Galactus. And we really liked the resources from Agent Coulson. Not necessarily I guess Super Scroll is not bad either, because if they have a Null, they throw it into the Onslaught Citadel, we get a huge amount of upside from it. So let's do the exact same thing that we did last time. We're going to play it like this. We may end up using Super Scroll plus whatever else on the last turn. We'll see. So the Uatu, they do use Shang-Chi in Monster Metropolis, so they take care of our big collector, which should be okay. So now they didn't really destroy too many cards, so death is going to be one of their biggest resources here. We have the Shang-Chi, we have initiative as well, so I'm going to go with the spread. We have Super Scroll in the Onslaught Citadel, so it should take on the Soul Stone twice, making this very, very like a heavy reduction. I think we're okay here. I almost want to snap into this. It's not the ideal line. Like, they're going to have to play for both Monster Trop. They're going to have to play for all three. Since this is gold, we are going to snap into it. We're going to see if maybe they lock in their play. We don't know exactly. All we know is that they have a Yondu, a Death, and a Shang-Chi. But I think what we have is going to be better. So the Super Scroll comes down. They do play 2 cards here. So our Iron Lad is going to hit the Shang-Chi, so it's not great. If they do something bigger than 6 here, they will take this lead or this location back in their favor. The Death is huge, and then the Time Stone is not going to be enough in that left lane. But it does give a bump to Thanos wherever he's at. We are going to steal the 4 cubes early, courtesy of the Super Scroll from Agent Coulson, which is going to be where this list can shine, is that they're not going to know. So similar to how the Thanos list can kind of feign that uncertainty of what kind of deck they're running, Agent Coulson, Nick Fury, sometimes even to a degree Maria Hill can give you those random elements that you'll be able to use to find a way to win. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next battle. We are 4 cubes up early on, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal to see. And what inspired me to kind of run this style of list is I lost in a silver match. When I was running my Living Tribunal deck, I lost to an Agent Coulson generating a Stegron, slapping the Iron Man out of that location, and then they had something that they followed up on it with, but it was just a beautiful combination, and there was no way that I could anticipate it. None. So Yondu hits our Quinjet here, reducing death down to 7. We know they have Kang, Shang-Chi, Yondu, Death. So using Kitty Pryde and Wakanda, that will keep it safe. If we get our Collector, great. If not, we're looking at just kind of a randomness of resources that we're going to generate for ourselves. We do get Collector, beautiful for us. So Collector, Kitty Pryde, next turn we could do something like Agent Coulson and Kitty Pryde, or we can just do a White Queen. That would give us potentially their death, making it that much harder for them to lean very, very heavily into a destruction route because we would get the free resource. Ooh, okay. So they're going to go Galactus. Galactus here is scary. We don't have anything that goes over Galactus, unfortunately. They have initiative, so even if we did, it doesn't matter. Where do we think they use it at? I think they do it into Strange Academy. We're going to do White Queen, see if we can copy some of their big power plays. And then we'll have to lean into like an Agent Coulson to see if maybe we can get a Spider-Man lock. See if we can get a Professor X lock. Something to surprise them from there. But right now, it doesn't look great. Our White Queen's not going to copy their Death, unfortunately, because Death should reduce down below that point. So it is just a She-Hulk. However, something like Devil Dino and Mystique could be pretty big. I also like the idea of doing Agent Coulson for a randomly generated card. Maybe we can swindle away the win. Either that or we skip here into a Devil Dino and a She-Hulk, which would be pretty big. I like that a little bit better. We'll do the Kitty Pryde just because we can. And then once our card pulls back in, now if they have a Spider-Man, we lose. A Lockjaw. Ooh, that is wild, my friend. You are going to the all-out casino. Thanos is big. That's unfortunate. We're not going to draw because of the Kitty Pryde. Turns out we could have played something, but we didn't. So because we played Kitty Pryde, we actually can't do Devil Dino and She-Hulk. They're going to the rotation casino. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 plus 6. Okay, 13 plus 12. It's going to be 25. There's a chance. We're gonna stay for this. We're gonna stay for this. I hope that they rotate into something bad. So the Soul Stone rotate into like a Time Stone, rotate into like a Power Stone. Would be beautiful here. It rotates into, I can't even tell what this rotates into. The Reality Stone, right? We beat that. We beat that every time Let's go. From the Galactus Thanos list, we are able to grab the 4 cubes a second time. That one came down to a rotation, but with so many stones left in their deck, I was hoping. We were reaching. We will absolutely take the second 4-cuber, even though they got the Galactus off. Let's see if we can close this one down in 3. So we do get our Quinjet. I assume that will eventually get destroyed. We can go Quinjet. Next turn we can do Collector. And then from there, we're looking to do maybe a White Queen before they destroy any cards so that their death would come into our hand. Superflow allows us to do Collector on turn 3, or White Queen on turn 3. We also get Agent Coulson, which is beautiful. Let's go ahead and hide our Collector into the big house. They won't be able to do a Shang-Chi to destroy it this time. So they got it the first time. They're not going to get it this time. Soulstone is big. They draw some additional cards. We don't have to worry about Galactus in any lane except for the Superflow now, which I think should be okay. Okay, so wow, Tinker's Workshop. That is a lot of energy. So the one from the Superflow, 5 energy. They can't do Galactus here, thankfully. I think we still go White Queen. We could do a Devil Dino, but that's definitely within Shang-Chi range. Let's go White Queen. Next turn is maybe our Agent Coulson, depending on what White Queen grabs. If they do a Time Stone, next turn we'll have to worry about a Galactus, and so then we'll just slam Devil Dino into mid. They do use the Time Stone. And then they use Reality Stone on the right. Okay, so can't play high is fine. We won't have we might have initiative here. Courtesy of Camp Lay High bumping up our Collector just that +1, right? Yep. We barely get priority here. I mean, we know they have the Galactus now. We copied it from the White Queen. And so I imagine that they have to go with it, right? We have initiative, we have priority. I imagine they have to drop the Galactus. They snapped, we'll snap right back. Since we have priority, our Devil Dino will be bigger than the Galactus. It'll stop that from triggering. We have White Queen to lean in on. We have the Lockjaw from Camp Lay High. I don't know that we'll use it, but it's kind of interesting nonetheless. They could also have Kang. They could go Kang here instead of Galactus. No, they go Galactus. 1-800 Galactus cannot be completed as dialed. Let's do the Mystique in the left lane, make sure that we have a sizable lead over there. And then I think we just Maria Hill. And next turn we can do something like Agent Coulson and Zabu in the right lane. That makes sure our Devil Dino is huge. They could use Shang-Chi. Actually, no, let's change. We're going to do White Queen to the right. And we'll do Maria Hill to the left. We have a Collector that's going to continue to scale from the Maria Hill, from the Agent Coulson. If they do Shang-Chi here, we need a sizable lane in Camp Lay High or a way to come back in the Superflow after the fact. So let's go with White Queen, and then we'll just switch the ordering a little bit. So is this Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi would make a lot of sense here. We have Star-Lord. I don't think we'll use it. No, they use Kang. Okay. Kang, they do it. No, they Kang not. It's one of those that it gives them the insight, but the rewind button is now gone. Like and I'm afraid to click on playing because I don't want to lock in my turn. Let's go through the same steps. Mystique, and we'll do. Wait, what did Maria Hill gave us an Agent Star-Lord? It'll give us the exact same thing here, which I'm fine with. I'd rather do that over Zabu because we can't get Devil Dino below 9 because this would be 8 and then it would still be 11 even without the card generation. So we're going to do the same thing that we did last time around. Mystique, Shang-Chi is probably what they go with, I would imagine. Now that they've seen our play. No, they go Leech. Interesting Leech play. Like, I haven't seen Leech in so long, and this is a heavy Leech gamer. They have played a lot of Thanos, a lot of Leech. And so how do we bring this one the rest of the way home? We can't generate additional cards now. The simplest thing may just to be, maybe just to do something like this. Their highest 1-cost card has to be Power Stone, which is over here. I think we just Chavez in one of the lanes. We have a sizable lead in all the other ones. I think we just Chavez in one and hope for the best. They could do Shang-Chi plus something else, but I don't think it's going to be enough. the Lockjaw, the random Lockjaw, is not going to be able to be... It's not going to be enough to save you. We are going to pull home... Ooh, the Knoll was hiding in the deck, but it was not big enough. They're not going to be able to pull this one out. We do finish this one out in 3 rounds. Let's go ahead and we will see the transition into battle number 2, and then we are going to be jumping straight in to that second battle. All right, jumping into battle number 2 with our Dino Cat deck. And I use the default because I've been brewing a lot. All right. Next up we have, and then I was like, and their title is Hey, Calm Down. We're going to go ahead and play Quinjet while we figure out what kind of deck they're running for battle number 2 out of 3. Let's go Quinjet. Shuri's Lab, if we draw into our kitty, would be massive, but unfortunately we did not. Let's go ahead and do Collector into Wakanda as well. Next turn, Agent Coulson is going to give us a good bump to him. It's also going to give us some random resources, which are phenomenal. Onslaught Citadel could be pretty interesting. Let's do Agent Coulson, get some cards. Next turn, if they don't play anything here, we can do a White Queen to get some insight into what kind of deck they're running. Maybe it's a High Evolutionary Lockjaw. Maybe it's Bounce, but if it's Bounce and they didn't play for the first 3 turns, it's unfortunate. It could be Mr. Negative, and they just haven't grabbed anything. What is going on? What is going on here? We have to get some insight now. We have to get some insight into what kind of deck they're running. Let's do the White Queen into Shuri's Lab. That will continue to bump up our Collector. We have a good reach here. The reason I didn't do it into Onslaught Citadel is if we eventually draw Devil Dino, or if White Queen grabs an ongoing card, then we can get some benefit from Onslaught Citadel anyways. Heimdall. So it's a movement. I'm wondering if it's like the Phoenix... That is not what I thought. I'm wondering if it's like the Phoenix Force deck, but this is not it. How do we navigate this last turn? Do we just... We know they have a Heimdall shift, so they'll be able to push here and then push over. Maybe we just pump a little bit into the Citadel? We have a lot of not great pulls from Dracula, but I think that's okay. I think we're okay with that. They could have a Shang-Chi. We know that they have the Heimdall, though. Ooh, Maria Hill generates a Silk for us, so we get a reduction from Quinjet, giving us a 1-cost 5-power card, which is beautiful. This is big. This is a big lane. Now they do Taskmaster, and they do 28 power here. We could. I mean, they could do the same thing. They could do a Heimdall shift. We can do this number. If they do a Heimdall shift, we should win mid. If they don't, I think this is enough. I think this should be enough for a Taskmaster counter. I'm not confident enough to snap into this, but I think it's an interesting line nonetheless. White Queen giving us their Heimdall, I think, took away a big surprise element, because I think this is that card. I think this is going to be the Heimdall, which will go to, or it could be, oh no, an Arnim Zola is wild, but it's also not going to be quite enough. That could have been 28 and 28. Would have been crazy, but we will. Wow, we actually barely grabbed that one with the Dracula. Wow. I was not anticipating it being that close. What a weird game. We'll take it. Very, very weird. Red Skull, Arnim Zola, and She-Hulk is what we're looking at. So it looks like the old Shuri deck. Like the old Shuri deck that had both Taskmaster and Arnim Zola for those like surprise elements. I'm going to stay in for the one. They snapped on turn 1. I think we're going to stay in and see it out for a little bit anyways, at least for a moment. We do have Agent Coulson, which sometimes might generate an extra Shang-Chi. We do have our Shang-Chi built into our deck just in case they get the high roll. I'm thinking we're going against either the old style of Shuri deck, or probably more realistically, a Phoenix Force deck. The multiple man, yeah, definitely a Phoenix Force. Okay, so we get the Chavez from the hub. We can do Coulson here. We wouldn't be able to draw next turn, though. So let's do our Kitty Pryde. We want to be able to draw into a potential Shang-Chi. I think that's going to be big, especially if they have the Hulkbuster to make this thing 7, and then Phoenix Force comes down and makes it much, much bigger than the 7. And so I think, and then playing it in the left lane, I think tells me that that they probably, anything we play here is going to be detrimental. The White Queen doesn't give us a lot of information, unfortunately. Kitty Pryde plus Agent Coulson, we're going to have to rely on him to give us a good resource. That's all there is to it. Let's do Kitty Pryde, Coulson, because it's either that or we play super like against curve and just do Kitty Pryde. So they do get the Venom off onto the multiple man, so now they're just looking at the Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force will be what they need. Agent Coulson, can you give us Shang-Chi? No. No, of course not. Why would you do that? Let's go Devil Dino in the right lane, which is... let's go Devil Dino into the left lane. We're going to draw Chavez next turn, which isn't great. We'll be able to do Mystique, but that would be it. Yeah. We'll do Devil Dino in the left. If they do multiple man and move him over here, he dies. And so they're not going to be able to shift into the left lane, so that is going to be their weak lane. Now, they could do a multiple man move and a Heimdall, leaving 21 here. Multiple man move, Heimdall for the shift is 21 in this lane. This is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Only 14. A Taskmaster over here. No, when they snapped on turn 1, we should have known that they had both a movement component, a Phoenix Force, and just the pieces that they needed to make that combo happen. We're going to need to rely on Shang-Chi to counter that high roll, which for them, honestly, is not super consistent. Phoenix Force is, when it pops, it absolutely pops. It is that burning fire. When it pops, it absolutely hits hard. However, it doesn't always hit as hard as it needs to. So Dream Dimension on first glance is bad, but they snapped into this on turn 1. They're not going to be able to do Phoenix Force on 5. Ooh, wow. TVA is... It's interesting. It is something. We can do Collector. Agent Coulson is big. Maria Hill is big. And what do they have before that point? A Venom, Hulkbuster, Multiple Man? Let's go ahead and snap back into it. We're gonna continue to pressure them. We have a lot more early game resources than what they do, and so we do grab the 2 cubes against the aggressive play, which I think even without TVA, Dream Dimension is so tough for a deck that relies on a 5 cost. Now maybe they have a magic built in, maybe they have a ramp component. Most of the time these decks right now are not, and so I think we have a decent idea of what kind of deck the opponent's running and like what the rest of their makeup is. I assume Chavez, we know Heimdall, so I think that takes up 2 of the 4 mystery spots for us. And so overall, we get Shang-Chi in our opening hand here. They also didn't snap. After getting countered by the second location last game or last round, they didn't snap on turn 1. I think having the resources that we have, almost think we snap. Superflow is huge. Superflow is huge for energy. It's huge for them too, though. Let's do Zabu and Kitty Pryde. Next turn, we can do our Coulson, or we could do Nick Fury. And having Kitty Pryde on 1 is going to be big. We're going to be able to play that every single turn. So they go multiple man. Murder World is going to destroy that card for them, so they will be able to resummon it with a Phoenix Force if they have a Iron Fist, Chavez, Heimdall. Maybe a Ghost Spider is that last slot, or maybe the Dagger. Could be big. The Vault becomes a little bit difficult for them. Maybe? Let's do Agent Coulson and Kitty Pryde into the Vault. With the Phoenix Force, they'll be able to get like 13 power. They also have like an Arnim Zola to be able to position some additional power over there. So the arrow coming down, we'll use that either on 4 or 5. Do we pull out of this location? I almost think we White Queen, Kitty Pryde. Next turn, we could do an arrow to yank out of the vault, but they could do the... Ooh, no. They do Phoenix Force this turn if they have it. If they have it, they do Phoenix Force this turn. Guaranteed. So let's go ahead and do Arrow. Since we have priority, it wouldn't multiply the multiple man yet. We should be able to, I think, keep initiative so that we can destroy it before it becomes more of an issue. So if they resummon it, it's going to be 9. Yeah, we should keep initiative. Let's go Arrow. We're going to yank the Phoenix Force over. That is going to allow us to have that easy Shang-Chi target. Oh, wait, they can... I guess they can move him, right? Well, that didn't work as well as I would have hoped. We do take away some of their high roll with, like, a Heimdall. But that's about it. Okay, so if they move the multiple man here, we take it out with the Shang-Chi. It doesn't generate back over here. It doesn't become an issue. There's a lot of assumptions there as far as how this in-game is going to go. Nick Fury could give us a last turn resource to utilize, but I think we go Maria Hill and Kitty Pryde. We are confident in this Shang-Chi. This Shang-Chi is going to be the biggest Shang-Chi counter they've ever witnessed. Let's go ahead and lock it in. Multiple Man goes into the vault, setting up for a Heimdall. No, you didn't. Oh my god, they absolutely bamboozled us with the multiple man into the Superflow instead of the vault. My god, that was beautiful. That is unfortunate. That's not great. And so now, I don't know which one the real one is. I don't know. Shoot. We actually absolutely got bamboozled. We're going to have to retreat out now. Because I don't know if one of these can move over into the vault. Created by Arnim Zola. Created by Multiple Man. I don't think... Destroys it, goes here and here. Can they move it freely? If so, a Heimdall shift maybe isn't the worst thing. I don't know how the Phoenix Force works in this scenario. And that is going to be the worst thing. Do we risk 2 additional cubes here? I have no idea how Phoenix Force works after Arnim Zola. No idea. So I don't know if we're in the clear in the vault or not. We're going to send it and hope. We're going to send it and hope that they can't move it. They didn't move anything. The Heimdall shift is fine. We come over the top in the left lane. We avoided the Superflow to make sure that if they did the Heimdall shift, we were fine. I was worried because not knowing that interaction well enough, I was very scared. We are able to hold down both Murder World and the Vault after their beautiful Shang-Chi dodge from the Phoenix Force. And I don't know if that was intended. I don't know if they even thought about us doing Shang-Chi. That almost put them back in this game. Like, had this interaction been able to, if you were able to move the destroyed and then resummoned multiple men, I think it would have been fine. But I think the reason the interaction doesn't work is because you're destroying what was the Phoenix Force merge, and now the game considers it just a multiple man play, is my assumption. I don't know for sure. We will take the second round victory in 4 rounds, making quick work of this gold conquest run. Let's go ahead and we will jump straight away into battle number 3, see if we can hold this one down for the infinity ticket. All right, jumping right into battle number 3 for the infinity conquest ticket. We want to store up as many of these as possible. That way we can make as many attempts once the infinity conquest opens up, because I think it took me 3 tries to get my first infinity conquest win the first time around, and then the second one took an additional 3. And so I want to have at least 6 tickets saved up so that I can do multiple runs. There is a chance that we go super hard into it and we have much more than 6, but I think 6 is going to be like that comfort ground. All right, next up for our final match, we have Pixelonik. And let's see if we're able to hold this one down. First location is a Superflow. Depending on what kind of deck they're running, that could be monumental, but we don't know for sure. We're gonna go ahead. Okay, so Luke Cage. Could be a hazmat build. Could be a Cerebro 2. There's a couple of things that Luke Cage is used in now. He's kind of getting his time to shine. He's not in the forefront, but he's definitely around. We can do White Queen to get some insight into their deck. We could do Maria Hill, and I think we do White Queen into the right lane. I don't want it to be above Shang-Chi range because we don't know what kind of deck they're running yet. The Polaris could be Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer with the Luke Cage kind of protection, maybe. White Queen, ooh, Black Bolt. So it's just the Stature Hawk Black Bolt deck, and we are okay with that. And so Devil Dino in this lane is going to be huge. Let's go ahead and do Quinjet. We'll do Maria Hill. That brings this down to 3. This is going to be a 3 cost. We're going to get something here. They snapped on us, but I don't think I don't think that their Hawk is going to be big enough in Onslaught Citadel to match our Devil Dino. As long as we get like a Nick Fury and Agent Coulson, I don't think it's going to be big enough in the Onslaught Citadel. Now, Zabu in Onslaught Citadel is big. They did pull us out of there, unfortunately. It's okay. We could go Scarlet Witch into the Citadel. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. What I do know is that we're gonna slap down a Black Bolt on them, just for giggles. We can slap the Black Bolt. Let's go ahead and take away the Super Flow. That allows us. We won't have the extra energy, but it allows us to start playing over there, since we are getting relatively full in the other 2 locations. It gets rid of Korg. That's unfortunate. Gamma Lab. Gamma Lab's not going to do anything for us. We lose our Shang-Chi, unfortunately, because they were able to have the extra energy to play Black Bolt last turn. That's a rough one. We go Devil Dino in Onslaught Citadel. We have the Mystique. No. Oh, no. We're going to draw into Chavez on the last turn. That's rough. So we'll do Mystique and Kitty Pryde, and this is going to be a super small dino. So if they have the Hawk, we're out of luck. We definitely become out of luck here. They have the Enchantress. So we're learning a lot about their deck here. The Enchantress, which this is definitely a variant. It's definitely a variant, all right. I imagine they run Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's super cheap. Their Hawk is super cheap. We're not going to risk the additional 2. Like there's a chance that they didn't have the right draw. They only had 2 cards in hand. There's a chance they didn't have the right draw. But there's also a chance that they could have just absolutely obliterated it. We're going to go ahead and jump out of that one. Play it a little bit more tactically. Wait until we have the element of surprise on them. So we have to look out for Enchantress. Probably Shang-Chi as well. I'm not sure what the current Stature Hawk decks run. We know they have the Korg, so that takes away one of the slots. Miles Morales definitely has to be in there. I would assume Rockslide and Hawk, so that takes away 1, 2, 4 of the remaining 5. And then Shang-Chi, 6, and then something else is how I would imagine that would go. We can do the double Zabu. Double Zabu makes our Nick Fury really cheap. We also have White Queen, which will be cheap. We can play it twice. They snapped here, but I think we lean in. I think we stay. I don't think they're gonna have a big enough element. We're gonna want to make sure we don't have initiative on that last turn whenever we drop like a Dino or whatever Agent Coulson generates. Shang-Chi is also gonna be beautiful here. Double White Queen. Double White Queen gives us some semblance of potentially grabbing initiative or priority. But it also gives us a lot of information about what their highest cost card is in their deck. So we probably won't grab Hawk. Maybe a double Black Bolt though? No, Enchantress. Okay. So double Enchantress. That's unfortunate. That's two of those guys, and we definitely don't want 2 of those guys. But them doing Rock Slide does give them initiative. No, we have initiative. What am I talking about? Let's do Furious Nick here. We can do our Rock just for giggles. because we won't grab initiative over the Rock Slide. Nick Fury is going to give us 2 potential resources to use on turn 6. We probably won't use them. It's just for decoy. Okay, so the singular Korg. Jeff is also big. They don't have a lockdown component, which is what we're really leaning into. I think we skip here. Skip into like a Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Shang-Chi, Coulson. I feel like we have... Oh, they could hit us with a Black Bolt. I guess we have 3 targets, right? Yeah, if they hit us with a Black Bolt or a double Black Bolt, we're fine. That's pretty big here, though. And they can move the Jeff. Yeah, maybe it's not fine, but we're going to lock it in anyways. They can move this Jeff. Ooh, so the Hawk comes down already. Huge. Okay, and so that means whatever they play will end up here. They can move Jeff over. They can play 1 card. I don't think they have an armor. This is actually our second biggest play. Shang-Chi and Enchantress. And we can guarantee one of the Enchantresses go over here as well. Just because we have the extra. So we know that this lane... With the Enchantress, this becomes a vanilla card. They still win Washington, D.C. if that is where it goes. We're going to send it anyways. I think this is worth sending into the 4-cube gulag. Let's go ahead and lock it in. They have initiative. They have priority. We're going to play a lot of cards, though. They move their Jeff. Is this another big card? Polaris. Okay, Polaris is not huge. The Miles. Shang-Chi grabbing us back the lead, not technically, but once Enchantress comes down, grabbing us back the lead here. Can we, and we already have it in mid, can we grab it the rest of the way? We should be able to. We are going to hold down the 4 cubes. We're actually going to steal all 3 locations because Shang-Chi got the lucky flip into Washington, D.C., giving us a 4-cube, 4 bar of health lead. Or I guess battle. We're only ahead by 2. I should have doubled down there. But I think if we doubled down, they would probably retreat because their last turn really wasn't that impressive. And so let's go ahead and... They knew we had the Enchantress, though. Wild that they stayed. Let's go ahead and jump over into round number 3. See if we can hold this one out. Let's go with Kitty Pryde into Titan. We at least have that early. We're only missing 1 card on their end now. I assume it's probably the Shang-Chi. I think that it has to be the Shang-Chi. So Titan's not great for them. Honestly, not great for us, unless we get a Nick Fury down. Then it gives us some value. They have the Luke Cage. That doesn't do much for them, though. Strange Academy is going to move our cards around the board. Don't know... Ooh. Windjet is kind of cool. So if we do load with Nick Fury, that's going to be 4 cost, 6 cost. 6 cost cards that are only going to cost us 4. So let's do that. They do go with the Jeff. We don't want to fill up our hand just yet. I would like to draw into the Shang-Chi. I feel like that is going to be really important. And Los Diablo Space does destroy Titan, so our 6 costs are no longer going to be reduced in cost now. That's okay. Let's go Kitty Pryde, and then we'll go Zabu as well. Now, we could always Mystique copy the Zabu. That's another target for it in this deck to get back to the original kind of Zabu state of our 4 costs costing only 2, allowing us to really flood on the last turn. We haven't seen Collector for a little while either. There's Maria Hill, but no Collector. Okay. Going into turn 5. No Shang-Chi. We're not going to draw into the Shang-Chi either. They have Enchantress. They snap into this one. We could do Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson and a prayer. We have Devil Dino that we can always lean in on the last turn. Let's go with this. I know that doing Devil Dino is bigger, but as far as grabbing tempo, grabbing initiative, we want to try to maintain that we don't have it. That way, our Devil Dino, if we do play it, can't be an easy target for their Shang-Chi, their Enchantress. And so we lose our Maria Hill, perfectly fine. Agent Coulson is going to come in, hit us with a Moon Girl and a Leech. Neither one are going to be beneficial for us. So they can do a Coulson, or they can do a Stature. They can do a Hawk. But they grab the lead here. And so this, not as far as like last turns go, this isn't terrible. Yeah, 16 would tie us here. Their Hawk's not going to be huge. Miles is cheap. They'll get some miles out of the miles card. Let's do this. I think we just go and stack in these two. We leave Strange Academy alone and hope that they try to fight for all three or stack one of their big power plays in the right. We're okay risking this for an extra two. So they move the Jeff over. The Hawk in the right lane. The Miles is not going to be big enough. We're able to beat that one by just a touch, especially with Jeff moving out. We're able to hold down the 4 cubes against the small Hawk in the right lane. By playing inefficiently, we could have put more power out on the board earlier with things like Devil Dino, things like Mystique, but that would have left us susceptible to those big, strong counterplays. And so by maintaining that, we don't have to worry about the Enchantress or the Shang-Chi, and we can drop our cards more efficiently on that last turn. And so we're going to go ahead and we grab the 4 bars again, bringing them down to just a mere 2 bars of health in round number 4. Let's see if we can carry this one the rest of the way through. We get Deathlock from Camp Lehi. We have our Quinjet. So next turn we can actually play the Deathlock. We could play Maria Hill as well, potentially get a resource from her. We'll see. We'll see. Right now we're up pretty big. They can make a comeback. This has happened before. I have been a part of bigger comebacks than this, but it's tough. You have to really grind it out. You have to play it really patiently, and it's going to take a little bit of luck as well. I think we do Maria Hill. I don't want to do Deathlock, but I think we do Maria Hill. Let's play her in the left lane. She'll generate a 2-cost card for us. Nah, it's 1 cost. That's unfortunate. That Ebony Maw is atrocious. We are just going to hold that as Devil Dino food. We get the Mystique, which is big. Agent Coulson, 3, 4, 5, caps out our hand, which is unfortunate. We can do Deathlock. Let's play Deathlock into Wakanda Embassy. That keeps us below Shang-Chi range. If we played it into Monster Metropolis, that'd be an easy Shang-Chi target. I think this is worthwhile. They play just their Cyclops. Let's go with our White Queen, which is also incredible value. It's right under Shang-Chi range. It's not going to be able to be Shang-Chi'd. It's not going to be able to be Enchantress. Beautiful, beautiful power level for our 4 cost, and we get some insight into what they have. Okay, the Miles Morales, if they move a card, he's going to become 1 for us, and so we will be able to utilize that and leverage that as well. I think we stack just our tall power into Wakanda Embassy. This will allow us to do a Devil Dino plus a Miles on the last turn. We're going to make them commit to it. They haven't hit us with any rocks, which has been really detrimental for them, honestly. Disrupting our potential draw line is huge. We have a lot of power, and all of it is below counter range here, and so we'll see. They do allow us to do the Miles Morales. A Black Bolt here is going to be a 50-50 between our Miles or the Ebony Maw. Nope, they go Miles and Korg. Interesting that they didn't just wait for the Jeff then. I mean, we'll take it. We'll take it. They do grab initiative off of that. And so we are going to just slam the Miles in the left. The Devil Dino in the right should have us maintain priority there. And then this is a huge location to overcome. So very interesting Jeff move, knowing that we used White Queen, potentially grabbing the Miles. And so I think that was just maybe not quite playing as heads up as you would want. Ooh, they double stack into mid. Maybe they had just given up at this point. They do steal that left location. We're going to steal they steal the middle location. We're going to steal the left. We're going to steal the right. We close out the Gold Conquest run in a mere 4 rounds against Pixelonik, giving us another Infinity Conquest ticket. And the Stature Hawk deck, that is not a bad deck. That's a pretty strong meta deck. It doesn't quite have the pop that it used to, but it's still a pretty viable deck. And we went against Galactus. That one was a little bit more challenging, I think. We had to get lucky. And then the Phoenix Force movement, which is a glass cannon. When it pops, it is absolutely going to pop. But it's really hard to consistently make sure that your power is going to stay on the board as a result. And so we will take the Infinity Conquest ticket. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.